5.5 hours later, well, something like that, 5.5 hours later, we're going back to Washington Dulles and flying home. I just discovered that the Uber I scheduled to go to the airport, I scheduled for 12 hours from now in the PM rather than AM. So I got to hustle down, check out, and get going. Let's go do it.
It wasn't until I got to my hotel room the night before that I realized that I wasn't actually flying from Washington National Airport, but that I was leaving from Dulles. I had completely forgotten about my flight change.
Have you ever had a day where you went into a hotel room, you got the air conditioning running, and you thought to yourself, yep, that's going to be what takes me out. I think that's what's going to take me out. I knew as soon as I walked into that room that air conditioner was going to be a problem. And I could feel it in my voice now. Let's see if I can get rid of it. Three escalators. We're going into the belly of the beast, I think. I don't run to gates. First of all, I have really bad knee. Second of all, just like Captain Slow, if some of you know who that is, it's just not dignified. Okay, I've run a few times, but I ain't running if I don't have to.
Let's talk about Washington Dulles Airport for a minute. I really don't like this place. I think some people might, but here's my problem with it. It takes forever to navigate the main part of the airport. And then once you head to the terminals, you're on trains. And then you're going up and down escalators, multiple escalators at a time. And that gets kind of tiring. And then there's that dang car, the car that you have to board into and then be driven to your airplane with. I think that's a terrible system, and I think in this day and age, you would think that that had been improved upon. You know, Washington Dulles could be a much better airport, but it's going to require time and investment to make it so. So is Icelandair's seat better than American Airlines or vice versa? Well, I think they're made for very different purposes. I think in the case of American Airlines, they're trying to give you a solid daytime flight with an average length of about 2.5 to 3 hours. And yes, I realize some flights are longer. In the case of Icelandair, they're trying to give you a better long-haul experience. And that has shown up in the two very different products. When you do this kind of thing on YouTube and when you participate in airline forums, you hear a lot of complaints about food and service. Well, I'm here to tell you, the food was excellent, and even more importantly, the service was fantastic on this flight. And I honestly think that the flight attendants went above and beyond the call in light of the fact that they were operating on just a few hours of sleep themselves.
Floating on cloud nine. feel the winds are turning round? 'Cause what goes up must always come back down. But I'll be safe in your arms, like the light in the day never part. I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine. Like the light in the day never part. I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine.
These days, there's a joke that's made a lot when you're taxiing around DFW. The joke is this: you landed in Austin and now you have to drive to Dallas. And the reason for this is the airport has changed its taxiways and its planning for airplanes to get to the terminals so that people avoid the runways. In other words, these aircraft are now navigating around the runways instead of across them. And that is better. It is way safer, and we've all seen that in the last 6 months. But it takes forever. And it's probably added a good 10 to 20 minutes per flight when you're flying in and out of this airport. Is there a solution? No, probably not. And I will say, even though the taxi seems long, here's the other part that I think people often go unnoticed at DFW, and that's this. You know what? You're not sitting in long taxi lines moving inches at a time to take off or land. You get to the terminal. You may have taken a while doing it, but you've been doing it at 25 or 30 miles an hour instead of a slow crawl.
Always come back down. But I'll be safe in your arms, like the light in the day never part. I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine. To earth, it's just as good as up there. I'm gonna keep you near, 'cause you're all I need, my dear. Do you feel the winds are turning round? 'Cause what goes up must always come back down. Safe in your arms, like the light in the day never part. I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. put your lips on mine. I love it when we hide in the pale blue sky, floating on cloud nine. Do you feel the winds are turning round? 'Cause what goes up must always come back down. But I'll be safe in your arms, like the light in the day never part.
Okay, we're done. Long flight. Great flight on American Airlines, and it really stood out that when I got on that airplane, everything worked. The USB charger charged my phone in an hour and a half from about 40% to full. I couldn't get that done on any other aircraft that I flew this entire trip. I had a great breakfast, cheese omelet. The service staff really in good shape, and I felt particularly kind towards them because they had been on reduced rest. They had got in the night before and had only had barely enough sleep to stay FAA legal, but they took care of us like champs. And yeah, I'm going to send a compliment to American Airlines, and if you experience those things, you should too. They should always hear about the good, not just the bad. And when they're doing really good under some tough circumstances, let's give them a break. I'm going to get my bag, find my daughter, and go home. Remember, if you like our content, like, comment, and subscribe, and tell your friends about us. Particularly tell your friends about us. At some point, I hope this starts making money and we can keep doing this, because there's always a chance that if it doesn't, I don't. Thanks for watching. See you soon on the next trip. Bye.